Do you know what transformed humans from a humble, almost insignificant animal into the unstoppable ruler of the earth? It wasn't muscle, it wasn't speed. It was an invisible weapon, a superpower that emerged in our brains about 70,000 years ago. An ability so simple, yet so powerful, that it has changed everything from how we live, how we cooperate, and even how we see the world. And believe it or not, that same ability has also opened the door to one of the most complex human actions: lie.
For millions of years, our ancestors, Homo sapiens, were just a small, insignificant species in our corner of Africa. We were no better hunters than lions, we were weaker than elephants, and we showed no signs of becoming the dominant force on the planet. About 100,000 years ago, if a Neanderthal had come across a group of Homo sapiens, he wouldn't have been too worried. They were just neighbors, nothing more. So what happened 70,000 years ago to change all that? The answer lies not in physical change. Our skulls and bodies are fundamentally the same as they were 30,000 years ago. The great turning point happened inside us, a sudden change in the way our brains think and communicate. We call it the cognitive revolution.
In the past, our language, like that of other animals, could only convey information about the physical world. Look out, there's a lion, or there's a pile of delicious berries over there. This was an effective but limited communication system. An animal could say, "I'm hungry," or "I'm scared," but it couldn't say, "The holy shark says we should go eat whales," something that didn't exist. But about 70,000 years ago, our brains were reprogrammed. Homo sapiens language suddenly became incredibly flexible. We can now do two things that no other species can do.
The first was the transmission of complex social information. We began to gossip. We could discuss what had happened, who could be trusted, and who had betrayed whom at the same time. This ability allowed groups to expand from 50 to 150 members and still maintain stability. It is the foundation of all societies. But the second thing is really our ultimate weapon, the ability to talk about things that do not exist. We began to tell stories about gods, ancestral spirits, and invisible rules. We believed in these imagined realities. No lion could say to his fellows, "The sacred lion of our tribe commands us to cooperate and fight together." But Homo sapiens could. The power of this collective imagination changed everything. By believing in the same story, whether it was a tribal god or a myth about a sacred animal, thousands or even millions of people could cooperate flexibly. That's how we conquered continents, caused mass extinctions, and later built great empires. Imagination is our greatest weapon. It has transformed us from a humble animal into an unstoppable force. Imagine this. To build a pyramid, tens of thousands of people had to cooperate. To build an empire, millions had to adhere to a system of laws and rules. How did all those strangers work together so harmoniously? It was because they believed in something that didn't exist in the physical world. A divinely appointed king, a heavenly kingdom, or an inviolable moral code. This allowed Homo sapiens to surpass the 150-person limit of other mammals.
All major human organizations, from nations to churches to corporations, are built on these imagined realities. For example, a company like Peugeot is not a car or a factory. It is a legal entity that does not exist in nature, but is made up of stories and rules that we collectively accept. Or money, a piece of paper with no intrinsic value, can be trusted and exchanged by millions of people around the world. All because we have collectively told a great story and believed in it. However, this ability also has a dark side. The ability to tell stories, the ability to believe things that are not true, is also the ability to make others believe what we say, even when it is not true. So, if the entire human society is built on stories, shared myths, where is the line between a great myth and a lie? At what moment in history did humans realize that their most powerful tool, language, could be used to manipulate and deceive? At what point did creativity turn into deception? Stay tuned for the next episode, The Decisive Moment. Humans begin to lie.